All right, Alvi, kick things off. Age, where you live, and your current business that you're building.
I am just turned 31.
Let's go.
I live in Austin, and I am currently building the number one aligner training program for dentists.
Yes, that's right. Led with number one because that's where we are, baby. That's where we're going. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so I know there's a couple things that you want to chat about today, but I just want to open up because I want to see what comes to your heart immediately. But what can we discuss in the next 30 minutes that is going to be absolutely value add for you, personal, professional, mix of both? What's that first thing that comes to you?
um, I think the first thing that comes to me is it's like seven things just came to me.
Let's
Um,
hear it.
First thing that comes to me, I think, is just making the most of my days.
Okay. And let's
Um,
go let's run with that. What do you feel like is lacking? Why are you not making the most of your days?
I feel like I feel like I have time that I've blocked, but I think sometimes I don't necessarily keep the promises to myself of these like regimented schedules. Um, and then something that I think I want to work on is getting better at maximizing allotted time, because with the baby on the way, I know I'm going to
Mhm.
have to be very dynamic. I know I'm not going to necessarily be optimized. Um, so I can't really pinpoint why right now I'm not performing at my peak. Uh, but in terms of like, yeah, what I want to do, I know that I need to maximize focus and productivity in very specific time blocks, just because there's multiple hats that I have to wear between business owner, husband, uh, about to be father, also just things I want to do personally. And I feel like there's been seasons in my life where I've had things like dialed in, but I think I was like borderline robotic. So just trying to
Mhm.
find a way to, yeah, maximize the different buckets that I have created
Yeah.
in life.
You said that you sometimes find yourself breaking your own promises. What promises are you breaking?
So I think if it's something like I'm not going to use my phone until 9 a.m., uh, the urge to check email, Instagram, text will,
Mhm.
and I'll be aware of it, because like in the morning, part of my routine is to do a stretch, and so I've tried to eliminate or at least push off access to my phone um, for as long as possible. But like, for example, this morning I like sat down to stretch, and it was like, cool, let's get the stretch going. And then it's like the little voice in the head was like, ooh, like check, we want to check Instagram, and it's like, nope, I don't want to do that because I told myself I wouldn't. And then it was just like, then I would just give in and I would just open it up, and not, I didn't spend like, it's not like I was opening and like doing like doom scroll, but the fact that I like
Yeah.
opened, checked, the notification, checked the inbox, and then got out, I just felt like that was a promise that I broke, because that's been something that I've been wanting to work on and get better at.
Yes. And when you break that promise, what's the emotion or feeling you have for yourself at the beginning part of your day? What does that emotion make you feel inside?
Um, I think there's like a touch of that. There's always like a little bit of a rush when I open the app. There's like a
Mhm.
sense of excitement. Um, but yeah, then afterwards, I think it's like, I don't want to say empty. Maybe it is a little empty. But yeah, it's just kind of like, I try not to let myself sit in that feeling at the end for too long.
Yeah.
I try to just like move
Yeah.
on, but I'm sure little ripples like that throughout the day add up, because
Yeah.
I've felt what it feels like before to be present, focused, flow state. And those are the times that I think I'm at my best, whether that's in my relationship with my wife, working on the business, deep work, connecting with an individual. I've felt that. And so I guess I just want to get better at doing more of that.
Yeah. So I think what's really crucial for you is needing to sit down and actually iron out strong phone boundaries and following through on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, you know the difference you feel starting your day when you follow through, not needing to check, not looking for that dopamine hit, focusing on getting up, going for a walk, having a cup of tea, stretching, doing the routine that you know makes you feel your best self. When you prioritize that before checking the phone, you're ultimately just going to feel incredible. You're going to feel unstoppable for the day ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But when we break that promise, it does lead to like, I told myself I was going to do this and I didn't do it. So now I might as well just do this every day. And maybe part of that routine for you is just keeping the phone away. Like, yes, have the phone as your alarm in the morning, great. But then if you're going to be spending your first 2 hours of the morning at your home, like, why not put the phone on the kitchen table or a place that you don't have easy access to?
Mm-hmm.
Get an Apple Watch if you need a timer, or buy like an OG timer if you need to time yourself. But I just feel like even creating that space from the phone while also identifying during your working hours, like, when do I need to stay away from this phone and when is it becoming a distraction?
Okay.
Because although both of us are in the game of content, it is our way of building business. I posted something yesterday and even today was very similar. Like, I didn't check Instagram yesterday until 12:42 p.m.
I saw that and I was like, fuck, I need to do that.
So now listen, that wasn't me like trying to flex on people. Like, look at me, I can hold off on 6 hours. It was me showing the world, like, I woke up this morning, I had a list of priorities I wanted to focus on, and I needed to focus in on those things, and I had to wait on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the social media, the DMs, like the dopamine hits are always going to be there. So instead, I decided to prioritize writing the podcast script, answering some important emails, and going full all in on that, which then made me feel like okay by the time I checked my phone. Think about how many people are trying to access flow and deep work, but are constantly being pulled by that phone. Like, I actually am when I look at people that have like extreme output, your Alex Hermosi, your Chris Williamson, anyone, right? Like, what they're really good at is creating these untouchable boundaries to be able to lock in for that deep focus. Because I'm sure you see it. Like, when you get into a nice focus sprint, an hour, 2 hours, you get so much done. But you do that same time frame and you add in like checking your phone every 15, 20 minutes, it's so much harder for you to get back on track, because from most people on average, it takes 22 minutes to get back into focus mode after being distracted.
Mm-hmm.
On average, 22 minutes. I think you're different because you're already a high output individual. Maybe it takes you 5 minutes. Maybe it does take you just a couple minutes, but there's something to be said about that little dopamine hit is actually having a big of a ripple effect that we aren't even realize. It's not, let me just check my phone for 2 minutes. It's the 10 minutes after that it takes you to get back into the focus, plus the 2 minutes of scrolling that you're losing out on.
I believe that. So 2 tactical things with that, I would say. So yeah, literally right before you said keep the phone downstairs, that was like a thought that I had. I was like, maybe I could just leave it, because I've tried to even like rearrange my morning routine for that. I use the Headspace app to meditate.
Great.
Should I maybe just like use the iPad instead of the phone? Or
You could do that. You could do that. Or my thought is this: do you wake up and is the meditation the first thing you do?
no, I tried that, but I think I was just falling asleep.
Yeah, I get it. I
Yeah,
get it.
no. For first thing, I'll wake up, turn on the hot water, squeeze lemon, go
Great.
upstairs, 10-minute stretch, 10-minute full body stretch. Then I'll meditate. Then I will journal, and then I
Great.
will get to my desk.
So this is going to be a true journey of you building discipline within yourself, because no one's ever going to know this. No one's ever going to be able to measure this.
Mm-hmm.
I think the goal is you wake up, turn off the phone, alarm, you put in the kitchen table, you go about your morning. When it's time to do Headspace, you grab the phone, you pull up the Headspace app, you drop into the meditation. When it's done, you put it back down. If it helps and you need to, all of those dopamine hits, habits, or not habits, apps, put them in a folder, put them on the second page of your iPhone. And when you wake up and you open your phone, the first page is the Headspace. You don't even know what the numbers look like. You don't know the DMs that are inbound. You will see that later in the day.
So I
If
think
that
that,
doesn't work and you still feel very tempted, then maybe go switch over to the iPad.
yeah, and I brought up the iPad because, yeah, now that you just said that, I realize like how deep this addiction is, because I don't even have the freaking Instagram app on my homepage. Like, it's cleared out, notifications are off. I haven't had like
Great.
text message notifications for so long, but like, yeah, like my brain will find ways to, I mean, it was bad like a couple months ago. Like, so I've been putting like the 30-minute limit on the app itself just to limit usage. Neha has
Mm,
the password. But
love that.
yeah, but like I would then like go into my browser some days and like get in from my browser just to check, to search for that. So
Mm.
that's where it's like, and I hear what you're saying. Like, I mean ultimately there are little things that I could do, but it's just going to come down to me, I think, like pulling my pants up and resisting it. My thing is like, I guess if I have that craving or I have that itch, do you have any like tips for something I could do instead, deflect it, or maybe do I just sit there and acknowledge it and like wait for it to pass?
Yeah, that would be for me. My challenge to you is when you have that crave and itch, sit with it.
Mm,
Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Why do I feel the need to check in with the world? You talked about before we got into this conversation how much better you're doing being present, which I think is incredible. You also mentioned how you moving to a different part of Austin has forced you to be intentional. So my two thoughts are: one, ask yourself in this present moment, what's the actual priority? I'm working on my business. Why do I feel this need to check my phone? It
mm,
can wait. Seeing what other people are doing in my feed, it doesn't actually value add to me. What is my priority right now? My business. So keeping that in mind. And then two, reminding yourself that the more intentional you are with how you're spending your time, the greater that output is going to be. And you knowing that stepping into fatherhood pretty soon, like that is going to force you, as I've heard from other fathers and seen from afar, like it forces you to just get shit done.
mm,
You're not gonna have the time to just scroll on social media like you feel now, because like you're like, okay, I got 20 minutes. I'm thinking the baby's not gonna make a noise. I'm gonna go all in, and you're gonna get hyper focused, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's not
yeah.
gonna be like where we feel now, present day is like we got nothing but time.
Mm-hmm.
We're our own boss. If it doesn't get done today, it'll get done tomorrow. But how does he create healthy internal pressure that every day, this is the day. I'm gonna ace everything that I set out to accomplish. I'm gonna stay hyper focused, and I'm just gonna get things done. And that how much that will actually make you feel confident and just fulfilled at the end of the day, knowing like, you know what, I did everything that I needed to do. Now I'm gonna reward myself and allow myself to consume social media and see what's happening.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. I think, yeah, part of it has been, and I was actually talking about this with Neha the other day too, of like, I feel like going part-time entrepreneur to full-time entrepreneur kind of got what I wanted, which was more time. And then it's like when you get such an influx of it, you know, you have to be smart about how you use it. Um, and yeah, I'm like within what, 6 months now, it's about to get like shrunk, like it's about to like disappear in the sense of how much I have, like in a good way, because I do want to be a
Mhm.
present dad. And yeah, I think it helps just even talking about it like with you, because I hear myself just making excuses like in terms of why I'm doing it or what for. When it comes to like, why am I giving into that itch? Because you're right, like it's not really, I mean, it's not adding any value. The notification will be there. No potential client is actually upset. It's like, 5 a.m. I don't really think anyone needs a message at
No.
at 5 a.m. And I think what it is partially is it's like chasing that dopamine hit. So it's like, and your suggestion, like, I guess if I go cold turkey with this thing, not if I when I go cold turkey with this thing, like when that itch or craving like comes back, like what is a good way to kind of like combat that, or do I have to trust that the muscle is like stronger in that moment and like don't let that be a reason to restrict myself? Or
Great question. Two thoughts come to my mind. One, having you be a meditator, it could be a really interesting practice that when you feel that itch to go check your phone, Close your eyes and meditate for 10 breaths. See what comes up.
Mm.
See like what emotions and feelings arise within you. And then when you open your eyes, I will bet just the way we did 3 deep breaths and how completely reset you felt just before we jumped in on this. If you did 3 to 10, I feel like you will allow yourself to be like, okay, I actually don't need to look at the phone. The other thought is if you feel this need to check, swap that dopamine hit for something else. Leave your phone in your house, go for a 10-minute walk, go get a glass of water, do something that's like positive, journal something about something. So my two thoughts are either sit with it or swap that dopamine for something else.
Okay.
And two things you said that I want to really hit on. One, you said, when the baby comes, I'm actually going to like lose time. I'm betting, and I'll check in with you 30, 60 days out after the baby comes in, that you don't lose time. I think if anything, you are going to be so much more effective and efficient with your time that would normally take you a 3-hour day, you're getting done in 90 minutes or less.
Yeah,
So I think you're
that gets
still
me
going to
excited.
still have a crazy output. You are just going to be so much more intentional about how you're spending your time. You were hitting on this before we also dived in about how, you moved to a different part of Austin. You're not near the coffee shops anymore. So like, you don't have that easy access to go. Coming from someone like myself who was living in the middle of like the thriving part of LA to now like 20 minutes outside the city of Austin, like suburb Bob here.
Suburb Bob.
What happened, the beauty of that happening, that's why the world and universe works in some mysterious ways. I move here and then finally take the leap, leaving my full-time gig. I am so much more intentional with what I'm saying yes to because I'm not in the middle of that city. It's not just I could go 3 minutes down the road and grab coffee with them. It's a 20, 25 minute commitment getting there, finding parking, coming back,
It's a
right?
natural filter.
Yes. So same thing with you. You mentioned how you have this nice new setup. Great. The whole packing the bag, going to the coffee shop. Maybe use that as a treat once a week, maybe on the weekends if you need it. But like you being able to drop into focus, walking into that room is a blessing because there are some people out there that think they need to be at this coffee shop that takes them 30 minutes to get to, 15 minutes to set up. Johnny walks in. Now they're in the middle of a conversation for 90 minutes. It amazes me how much time people will lose on a day-to-day basis because they're not aware of all of it just slipping underneath their feet.
No, I believe you. And when you said that, it just took me back to like what my routine was like when we lived downtown. Dude, like I made it like I was walking middle of the day, sometimes in the morning, like going for a walk to just go grab coffee. And like, yeah, some of the days it helped because it was nice and it was nice to just kind of take a breather. But some of the days I use it as like a crutch. It's like, oh, gotta stop, gotta go walk, gotta go get this coffee. But like
Mm-hmm.
now, I mean, I don't, I don't do that anymore. Like I'll go downstairs and make a cup if I really need a cup. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm back up here getting after it. I think the other thing that I've started to do is I'm just using that time in a block now. Like whenever I go to the gym, so like I'll go to collective workout and I'm there for like for the drive there, drive back. And while I'm there, it's like a usually hour and a half, 2 hours of my day. But like, I'm not on my phone. I'm either working out or I'm in the sauna or plunging. So it's like, for me, I think it's super restorative. Where I think before it wasn't like as intentional, right? Like I was just going like I'm not like going in the gym and sitting around. Like I'm going, and that's like going into my personal fitness bucket, which is something that, yeah, I'll have to tighten up. Like I can't just go for 2 hours once the baby's here, but I'm sure even when I'm at the gym, like I could shorten the workout, make it more focused, make it more, intense and intentional. Um, but
Or
yeah.
it's even simply just accepting in the short term. Maybe that means that you're only going to go to the gym 2 days of the week, but the other 3 days that you would normally work out, you're going to get like an Allo Moves app, or you're just going to find a way to do like at home workouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in the short term, you may not love it, but it's just like it's giving. I think what's really important is allowing yourself to pivot when you need to,
Mm.
and knowing that the way things aren't always the way things are going to be. So it's like, if that's in the short term, you need to adjust to working out at home, just do that. And like, yes, it's not ideal, but it's just the reality that you have to play into. And that at some point you'll be back to going 5 days a week when the baby's sleeping through the night and you guys can, find your ways to do the trade-offs of who's watching the baby, who gets to go out and, do their thing, like you'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you said that. It's funny. It's like Neha says stuff to me and then I don't listen necessarily, but then when I hear it from someone else, it'll be the same thing. And I'll be like, oh yeah, that's like such a great thing. Cause literally yesterday, I was in a pickle where I couldn't, like I was taking a call, but I was at the gym. Call went longer than I thought, didn't work out, ended up coming back, went to
Mhm.
something. And so she was like, next time you could just take the call at home and like use the weights that we have here. We got up, I mean, it goes up to 15 pounds, but it's like some movement here at home versus no movement would have just been better. And I was like, okay, yeah, good point. But yeah, you saying that of like even when baby's here, like having that be part of the plan as opposed to like not doing anything,
Yeah.
that's helpful.
Also, I want to challenge you too. Give me just the real brief context. What time of day, like you drove to the gym, you're about to go in, you get a call, answer the call, realize you can't stay at the gym. So then you left. Is that what the context was?
The context was, yeah, got to the gym
What time?
was at
Ballpark.
3. Yeah, like
Okay.
3.
Okay.
Took the call ran a little late, but then I basically only had like 10 minutes at that point before I had to like
Mm,
get home and move
I
on
see.
with the evening. Um, Usually doesn't happen like that, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That's fair. I didn't know what the context was there. If that was like a bigger problem, then I would have loved to have double click on that. But, okay. What else comes to my mind? I know you said in the beginning, there's like a list of 7, 8 plus things, but what else comes to mind right now?
Yeah, I think that one, I mean, that was a nice dive into kind of what came up, but um what's another thing? I think dude, drinking water. Like
Mm,
I used to be so good. Um but when I was really good, I was spending a lot of money. So when I went through my like fitness journey back in 2021, basically when my life changed,
mm,
uh, mental health, physical health, all that, I was crushing 3 liters of water a day. But
wow.
I was doing it because I bought the liter bottles of Fiji and they were
Oh
getting
yeah.
delivered to my place. So like
That's
I would take the Fiji bottle, like put it in my Yeti. And this was like when I was at work and I would crush. And it was like, for me, it was just clean. Cause it's like, I know how much I'm drinking. It's
Mhm.
good. Like miss me with Fiji's good. It's good water. I enjoy it. and, and like,
This episode's brought to you by Fiji
yeah,
Water.
yeah, Fiji, if you need someone, to make some content, I got you. No, and it was like ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous when I say it out loud, but like in the moment and even now looking back, like that was the only time in my life I think when I was crushing 3 liters of water. And like, and it was, I mean, what was I was just at the act of I freaking was packing this water. I would drink a liter by 10 a.m. at work, and then I would finish the second liter by the time I left work. And this is when I was practicing dentistry. And then I'd come home and I'd have that last liter with dinner and like, around the house, like during the evening. And I
And you
did
felt
that.
great because of how much water you're drinking.
I was also pissing like a racehorse, but
Yeah,
like,
of course.
yeah, man, dude, my skin was great. I was like, I mean, fitness wise, yeah, like good energy. I wasn't drinking as much coffee. Like, I mean, yeah, the human body needs water. So I felt that. And now for whatever reason, like, I mean, I got it here, like there's water
Mhm.
downstairs. I've tried the timer. I've tried to try to get some in, by a certain time and do all that. So, but I don't know. And that's just the thing that keeps popping up in my journal when it's just like, what are you trying to work on this week? It's like water. But then like I don't take the action to actually like do it.
Let's break it down, because I know you're a big systems guy, and I'm the same way. So the water you're drinking now, is it just like through your fridge, or like where is the
Fridge.
source of the water?
Yeah.
Fridge. Okay. One suggestion for you, and I can share with you offline, so I can text you the direct link. We set up a water delivery service.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculously fair priced, right? So like every 3 weeks they drop off, I forget, 8 5-gallon drums of water. So one, I don't have to think about it. The water is getting dropped off, which also forces me to us to fall through and actually drink the water. Otherwise, we're just wasting money, right?
Mm.
So having a consistent delivery of high quality water, which is maybe going to give you that same experience you felt with Fiji, creates this pressure to like, okay, we need to drink this water.
That's what it was,
Second,
dude. Like it would take up space in the fridge, and it's like you see it every time you open the fridge. Like, damn, I
so you
gotta
have to
drink
drink it.
this. Yep.
Mm-hmm. How many cups of coffee do you drink a day, or do you drink any coffee at all?
I'll drink one in the morning, and then I'll sometimes have one in the afternoon.
Great. So what I've done, right, is I don't really drink too much water when I first wake up, and then go to the gym. Or I'll run. So I really don't drink any liquid. When I get back from the gym, shower, start my day, get the coffee going at 9, I'll have one full cup of coffee. And then my rule is I cannot have another cup of coffee until this whole thing is drank. So I'll fill this up. I'll drink the
Mm,
whole thing. And then usually around 12, 1 o'clock is when I'll have that second cup. I'll drink that second cup and I'll also fill this up again at the same time. And then I try to challenge myself. Can I drink this whole thing before dinner or before I shut my laptop at 6 p.m. for the day?
okay.
So this ends up being minimum. I'm getting a half gallon of water a day, but I've gamified it. I've also habit stacked it so that every time I get a cup of coffee, which I drink twice a day, I also need to fill this up. So there'll be times like today where
Mm.
I was making the second cup of coffee and I still legit have like 3/4 of this bottle. So like a crazy man, I stood in my kitchen and I just chugged
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I was like, yeah, you're not gonna like allow yourself to have this cup until you actually drink this. So I think that's one thing, and this maybe hits on the social media stuff we chatted about earlier and just everything at a high level is like I try to gamify everything that I do. And this has been something that's always been true about me since I was a kid. I am my biggest critic.
Mhm.
So if I try to cheat the corner or not do the thing, I'm in my head for the next 24 hours about not doing it.
Okay.
So I think also having that in your mind of like, no one's going to see or measure this for you on a day to day, but you still have to live with the fact knowing you're not drinking enough water or you caved to the social media when you told yourself you weren't going to do it. You have to create that accountability within you. Like, I said I wasn't going to do this, so I'm not going to do it. Or I said I was going to drink more water, I'm going to do it. You're journaling about it. You have the previous experience knowing how good you felt, how great your skin felt from doing it. It's not even a question of what are going to be the benefits. You already know the benefits.
What if
So now it's just getting it back into a rhythm and a routine for you.
I liked when you said habit stack because I've found that like I've built a freaking I mean I've had a bulletproof routine because of this whole concept of habit stack, and that's when I was like when I
Mhm.
first started creating content. Like recorded a reel for a whole year every single day. Um, and so I like that, and I actually just want to like tie it all in. And this could be a crazy idea, but what if like whenever I have the itch to check Instagram, I just drink water instead,
Boom. Easy.
right?
Also, what else? Yes, it can be drinking water, and also what you could toy with is adding in like hydration mixes, like that. Also, like I've become a bigger fan as of recent of Element,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's a very performance based hydration product. There's no sugar, and that also makes me drink more of it because it adds taste to it. So maybe it's also a mix of like adding in a little bit of flavor, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
you're an athlete, you're a high performer, like there is something to be said about getting hydration in you, right? So that could also be an effective way. But I love that idea of I want to check my phone, I'm gonna drink some water
Yeah, and
and just make that habitual
it's
and a
like
habit. Or get one of these bottles that tell you the time.
mm,
So it forces you to fall through on the time that you actually want to drink it.
yeah. No, yeah, I've seen those. I've seen those. I think I kind of like this. This makes me sound it's like you tell this to any person who's actually not intentionally trying to make changes in their life, and there's like, what the hell do you mean you drink water when you want to check Instagram? It's like, don't worry about it, dude. Like, I got my hydration and I'm passing on that dopamine hit. Don't you worry about me.
I'm in the clear, baby.
Yep. No, I'm actually like very excited to give this a try.
So let's recap some of the things we chatted about today. First off, it's being more intentional with how you create a relationship with your phone and not feeling the need to check the phone first thing in the morning, seeing what the social media is, reminding yourself, I need to fill up my cup first before I fill up the cup of others.
Mm-hmm.
And that also includes checking your phone because you have people in your DMs waiting for your response, people in your comment section. Like that doesn't need to be checked first thing in the morning. You need to fill your cup up first, which is your mental, physical, spiritual health. So I think redefining why you need to check the phone or when, creating boundaries for it, swapping out the dopamine hit like we just mentioned, so adding in the water instead of that, or simply meditating for 10 breaths and waking up, like opening your eyes and be like, I'm actually good. I don't need to do any of this. Yeah. And I think just adding in some of those changes, being more intentional with, like, if I say I'm going to do this today, like going hyper focus mode is just going to force you to hold yourself accountable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blanking. What else? Any other big takeaways for you?
Gamify.
Gamify, huge.
Gamifying it. Yeah. And then swapping the water for IG, but then we also talked about with baby on the way, how you think my output is actually going to increase instead of,
Absolutely.
and when you said it like a little, I mean, a pretty big part inside of me kind of like got really excited, because that's just like such like a unique way to look at it. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like it makes sense because there's pressure. Something that doesn't necessarily, like, it's not that pressure doesn't exist now, but I think it's just more pressure. And it's like the next level, I think, for everything.
This is an outside perspective, and I'll check back in 90 days. I guarantee you are going to be saying no more than you ever have in your life before. You're going to be saying no to a lot of things because there is a major new priority to your life, which is beautiful, and that's great. But what that inevitably does is it clear. This is why I sent you that book. This is why I
Oh, yeah.
sent you Essentialism, because I know that there's a big change coming in your life. And I was like, there's a gamble. He's already read this, but I'm praying he has not, because this is going to be a crucial book for you. But essentially, the book of Essentialism is about getting extremely clear on what is the priority and eliminating everything else. And I think that's exactly what is going to happen with this process of welcoming your child into the world, is like the calls or the random things that you always had the time for, because there wasn't really anything else that was like pressuring your day.
Mm-hmm.
Those are going to get eliminated, which is going to force you to just maximize the time you do have for your business, for your clients, for any projects. So I'm betting that literally 90 days from now, you are going to still have the same output. You are just going to be so much more effective and efficient with your time, because you're going to have no other option but to get those things done in the shortest period of time, while also knowing you have a bigger responsibility that you have to look after.
Damn. Yeah, I just got goosebumps when you said that. No, and I think I feel like, because I've articulated a lot of this stuff in my journal and intentionally for the last, like, I mean, probably for the last 3-4 months, and I feel like I have all the pieces on the table. And then I feel like, yeah, I got excited when I saw that book too and read about it. Because I feel like it's going to help me put all the pieces together, and then coupling that with just the experience of becoming a father. I just feel like that's going to like the gas is already poured on, the gas is already poured in the pit. It's like, that's just going to, that's just going to light the match. And yeah, it's just going to, everything's going to come together.
But the last thing I want to say, and this goes right back to where we started before we even jumped on this call, the importance of presence, right? So I don't want you to feel this emotion inside you that when the baby comes, then I can be hyper productive. When the baby comes, then I'll start saying no. When the baby comes, then I'll stop looking at my phone. I want you to access that immediately.
For sure.
Because when the baby comes, then nothing changes. It's still business as usual. Yes, there's some pivots and tweaks in your day-to-day life, but like, you're already holding yourself accountable the same way presently. Now you'll still feel the same way then. So like, I just don't want it to feel like, there's dopamine hits with like, well, once I move to the city, everything changes. Once I leave the job, everything's going to change. Once I get the relationship, everything's going to change. No, if it's not changing now, it's not going to change when those things happen. If anything, those things are going to be major distractions from you just making the change, and you're going to be back to square one 3 months from now, right? So that's the last thing I want to say is challenge yourself to treat like the baby is here now, and how much differently are you going to operate on your day-to-day life, and watch how much differently that has a ripple effect on how you show up in personal and in professional life.
I like that. Act like the baby's here now.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. And one thing about me is I'm a freaking action taker. So
I can tell.
yeah. so this is no, this is super helpful, man. I appreciate it. I feel like this is going to help me dial in, and I think there's something to be said. Like, everybody needs like a little nudge. Like everyone needs someone to help just get them back on track. Cause I feel like when I first went through a lot of this stuff, I was just doing it kind of by myself. I was also like in therapy as well, but I think this is like very much, I mean, this is helpful, very helpful. So I appreciate it, man.
Good, brother. Well, I appreciate you carving the time. I'll see you on the run this weekend. And yeah, man, a lot cooking between me and you in the coming weeks and months, baby.
Yes, sir.
See you.